prologue. I'm not a great 30-something adult. I'm not married. I regularly eat gas station string cheese for dinner. And as a person who is occasionally mistaken by over-the-phone customer service reps for a woman, there's a quote from Sex and the City that I try to live by. Maybe some women aren't meant to be tamed. Maybe they're meant to run free until they find someone just as wild as them to run with them. A couple metaphors. A couple years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he told me that Cheese Whiz was made entirely for the purpose of being on top of the cheesesteak. I just thought, that's a great metaphor for love. That there's this one person out there who was made entirely for you. And I don't know, if you think you recognize me or not, but it might be because in 1987, when I was 3, I was on the local version of the Bozo the Clown show. I was in that game where we had to try to pop a balloon on a chair with our butts. And I couldn't pop the balloon with my butt. And what ended up happening is I started looking around, started getting worried that other people were popping their balloons and I couldn't do it, and was trying to figure out what was going on. And I think that's a great metaphor for adulthood. My friends are starting to pop their butt balloons, and I was getting upset. But in the end, I got a He-Man toy, and I was just as excited as I could be because I got that toy. Right after I turned 30, my younger sister got married to the love of her life in Las Vegas. And my twin brother flew out a few days early to meet the love of his life in California. And I was single. And my most recent relationship had kind of ended because, I'm not great at being an adult. I'm genuinely bad at dressing myself. One time, I was with my girlfriend and she was mad at me, and I asked her, are you mad that I wore these pants? And she said, no, I'm mad that you own those pants. And I was starting to worry that I wasn't gonna pop my butt balloon ever. And I was walking along Las Vegas Boulevard and sort of thinking about life, when all of a sudden in front of me, this impromptu street show starts to form. And it can only be described as a comedic, acrobatic, hip-hop, improv, breakdance crew. And they were amazing, and they drew a crowd. And I'm standing there, and I start to record it with my phone. I'm one of the first people there. And there's 10 people there, and then there's 50 people there, and then there's 100 people there, and then there's 200 people there. And it's a great show, and it's incredible, and it's free, and I'm right in the front. And they get to the end of the show, and one of the guys is going to jump over 4 women. And it's amazing, and I'm like, no way he's going to be able to do this. But then everyone in the crew pauses, and they say, together, in unison, a show is not a show without at least one tall, rich, white guy. And I'm like, I'm 2 of those things. And as I realize what's happening, they pull me out, and this guy jumps over me, and it's the time of my life, and I'm like, if I had been with someone or something, and I wouldn't have been able to be the tall, rich white guy in this show. And I'm just so happy that I was able to be that person and be there in that moment. Epilogue. First thing I did when I went home is I went to my favorite cheesesteak place in Philadelphia. And I thought about Cheese Whiz and love. And I realized that when the universe was ready, it would provide my Cheese Whiz for me. And I have no regrets. And when I find someone just as wild and free to run with me, maybe we'll pop our butt balloons, and maybe we won't, but we'll do it in our own way. Thank you.